Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up today, we're not going to have a second half of the show.
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, our dear, beloved Franklin is not feeling well.
I've been down for the count.
So he
has
is
5 days.
He is committed to doing the first half of the show for you as a token of his love for you, our listeners.
Yeah, and hopefully you can't hear it too strongly in my voice. I think I've gotten myself to a point where I'm not too nasally.
No, you're sounding okay. You sound a little congested, but we're gonna.
Yeah, I don't want to annoy people. Hopefully there will be no phlegm rattles.
Ugh.
That's the worst when you can hear the phlegm.
I was
going back and forth when someone breathes.
I was in a band in high school called the Phlegm Rattles. It was we weren't very successful.
Yeah,
we were a Carpenters cover band
called the Phlegm Rattles.
Just kidding. Anyway, let's move on. Let's dive into some stories, shall we?
Okay, yeah, sure.
I'm going to start us off by really depressing us.
Oh, okay.
And then you can depress us further later.
Should we prep people for that as well?
Yeah, just so you know, man, fuck this show. We're going to just depress the shit out of you and then leave you hanging. Oh, there's fun stuff too.
Yeah, it's coming.
We didn't report on this, but back in February, in Bangladesh,
a
blogger by the name of Avijit Roy, an American citizen,
I didn't know that part of the story.
Who's an atheist blogger, was brutally murdered.
We mentioned this, didn't we?
I don't know. I don't.
No, actually, no.
I don't pay
attention. I feel like this is
us.
similar to a story that was further back than February. Okay, right. We didn't cover this.
And there are some stories that are further back. But yeah, Roy, he was a 42-year-old atheist blogger who he went to an event at a bookshop or something and was pulled. He and his wife were both pulled from a rickshaw, a two-person rickshaw.
Okay,
and hacked with machetes and just. Horrifying stuff. His wife survived. He did not.
Oh, God.
And you know, we don't like to pull these things out. And, you know, it was like one of those things where I considered doing this story, but there were other stories at the time that were also equally important. And it just felt like one of those sort of, maybe it was a one-off or whatever. Well, another atheist blogger in Bangladesh has been killed.
Oh, my God.
And that's when I decided, well, it's not a one-off. It's a wave now. There were several attacks a couple of years ago, and in 2013, and then this guy, one Mr. Rahman, what was his name? Washikur. Sorry, everybody. I don't know how to pronounce Bangladeshi names. Washikur Rahman.
Okay.
27-year-old who described himself as a humanist was murdered.
Jesus Christ.
It's dangerous out there. There's a group of fundamentalist Islamic people calling themselves the Ansarullah Bengali team.
Oh, okay.
And they have published a list of folks who should die. Because
seriously, they actually have a list.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Available to the public? You said it was published.
Yeah.
So like you could find out if you're on the list.
Yeah, sure. We should check. Maybe we're on it.
Yeah.
Be amazing.
No.
Right. No. But yes, these people are dying for their criticism of fundamentalist Islam. They're probably being pretty easy on it too. There was one. They're convinced that a lot of these assailants aren't even reading the blog. They're just hearing that these guys
they exist,
and they're out there killing. There's I read a quote from a guy named Asif Muhuddin, an atheist blogger who fled Bangladesh and has found refuge in Germany.
Okay. All right.
Who just says that he says his attackers had never read his blog. He was attacked. and that he's just. By the way, you can be put in jail in Bangladesh if you're found guilty of hurting religious feelings. So, like, it's not just roving bands of hoodlums.
I'm sorry,
here.
like
there's
that's absurd.
Yeah,
because the thing that we know about religious people is that they have some of the most sensitive feelings around.
Oh, their feels get hurt awful easy.
Like, I mean,
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's. I just want to make everybody aware of the fact that Bangladesh sucks if you're an atheist. Apparently, literally, it's this Asif guy said that the situation is becoming unlivable for anyone who describes themselves as atheist, secular, or humanist.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, it sounds unlivable. That's horrible.
Yeah, and not everybody has the means to
get out.
It's not an easy thing. So if you're a listener in Bangladesh, which you're not, let's just face it. I doubt we have ever had a single download in Bangladesh.
We could look.
Yeah,
there are ways to find that out. Yeah,
but if you are listening in Bangladesh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Delete us immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Or listen.
Don't set up an automatic download.
No.
And I don't even know the right ways to do that. Set up some sort of like masked IP address or something or other.
Be pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
Be pretty sneaky because
with all your online atheist.
Your life is in danger. That's not good.
Ugh. All right.
And now you get to say something. Let's hope it's nice. I hope it's nice.
It's not nice.
Oh, damn it.
I thought about going nice, but let's get these out of the way.
Okay.
Let's get these ones out.
Dive in. I'm ready.
Excuse me. Oh, that tasted like peanut butter.
We did have peanut butter before. It's not just that he's coughing up peanut butter.
My phlegm doesn't naturally taste like peanut butter. All right. So we talked about, good Lord, this was a while ago, but I believe we talked about it. The Westgate Mall attack in Kenya. Did we talk about that on the show? With al-shabab.
Yeah.
When they attacked the mall. They've reared their ugly heads again in Kenya, this time attacking a university during a 15-hour siege. They killed 147 people.
Wow.
On campus. 147. 147.
How many assailants were there? Do we have a sense of that?
Well, 4 militants were killed. We know that much.
Okay.
And it sounds like it was a lot. That there were plenty of assailants. They struck at 5 a.m. in the morning.
There were that many people.
Student housing.
They went into the housing.
Well, I think they started shooting stuff up and people started running.
Yeah.
People started getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
As you would. And then it was a good old shooting spree at that point.
Thanks for using the phrase good old.
Well.
And then following it up with shooting spree.
Yeah, well.
You know, one of them old-fashioned kinds where everybody gathers round and...
It's al-shabab.
It is.
You know, it's. I'm sure it was
a fine tradition.
Planned and orchestrated.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the fact that they were there at 5 a.m. and probably also they have a sense of what the response time from police probably would be in Kenya.
Right.
How long do you think it was before a police officer was on campus?
Well, since you asked, I'm going to guess it wasn't like 4 minutes.
No, they're not.
I'm going to guess it was more like 3 hours.
You overshot it, but it's still the horrible number of an hour. It took them an hour before they had a response team of any kind. And the students were left running. The ones that were able to escape immediately, reading the account of this, it sounds like they were basically running past the men with guns. Like that was the way out, was to just run through the gauntlet and get themselves out.
Just hope that they're focused on other people at the moment. Or
exactly. 550 students were held hostage. Eventually were released. Well, not released. They overpowered them. So this is what's going on with... I think it's important for us to be keeping an eye on some of this extremism in Africa. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I just watched if any of you watched Vice this week, you'll have seen the report on drug trafficking through West Africa up into Europe. Up through North Africa and then up onto Europe. And the deal with the narco terrorists and any sort of al-Qaeda affiliated terrorist group in Africa. They're funding. The cocaine use.
I hope all of you
is funding terrorism in Africa.
Right.
So there are some really easy connections to draw.
You cocaine users out there realize that you're funding terrorism. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
I think it's something that people should be really thinking about.
Well, that's it. You and I came up with a brilliant thing, or I guess I came up. I mean, I don't want to be rude and not include you, but it was my idea.
Oh, okay, Dan. What was your brilliant idea?
But I do think it would be really interesting if the proponents of decriminalizing drugs came out with the idea that like it will hurt Al-Qaeda if we decriminalize drugs.
Absolutely.
We will cripple the funding of Al-Qaeda and all these other things.
The West needs to decriminalize now.
Right. And more, actually, decriminalization won't hurt them anywhere near as badly as
full legalization.
Yeah.
Which is a little dicier. It's a little trickier to convince people that cocaine should be legal.
Right.
That you can have, brand X of cocaine versus brand Y.
Yeah. That, although I do have to say,
on a shelf somewhere,
there's a huge difference. And if you guys haven't tried brand Y of cocaine, honestly, it's the best cocaine on the market today. Brand X is fine. I have nothing against brand X.
But you'll have
4 out of 5 doctors recommend Y. I'm just saying.
You have your Colombian coffee.
Well, now you've just invented something, because I feel like the phrase Colombian coffee should refer to a coffee with cocaine in it. I feel like that should be what we're calling that. That should be, there's the bulletproof, and then there's the real Colombian coffee.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in the world, folks.
I'm gonna sort of piggyback on both of our last 2 stories, because I feel like this is relevant to those.
Okay.
The Pew Research Foundation, or Research Center, or what, I don't know what they call themselves. Pew.
That's fine.
Pew has come out with a new report, and it's a big one. They call it the Future of World Religions: Population Growth Projections 2010 to 2050.
That's a mouthful.
Indeed. But what they're talking about, of course, is they're sort of looking at trends right now and deciding what the world's going to look like, religiously speaking, in 2050.
Oh, okay.
And here's the trick. Like, there were some big surprises for me.
Oh, really?
Well, here's the thing. I've been looking at trends, at these kinds of trends, for a long time. I've been sort of paying attention to what's happening, with populations.
Okay.
Not necessarily world populations. I focus mostly on America, because that's where I live and it's where I understand and whatever.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that there were some very specific trends.
Okay.
What I did not see coming is that they are projecting Islam and Christianity to skyrocket.
Christianity too?
Not necessarily skyrocket for Christianity. Islam is going to skyrocket. Christianity will gain a lot of people. Their percentage of the global population will stay almost exactly the same. But the global population is going to get much bigger.
Right. Okay. So they're maintaining.
Okay. Islam is going to shoot up, according to them. And the reason that they say it is because people in let's say Africa for an example, almost all of Africa, but
Right.
I mean, sub-Saharan Africa, I think especially, Anyway, people in these in especially lower income countries, first world countries, are having so many babies.
Not first world countries, third world countries.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay.
One of those worlds.
Yeah.
The world's the one that has the poverty.
Right.
The most poverty.
Right.
Anyway, yes, third world. Thank you.
Or developing nations.
Developing
I think is
nations.
the more politically correct.
Fine. Those shitty countries where all of the
Dan.
they're having so many babies, and they're of course indoctrinating them into Islam, and so they're projected. Pew is projecting that Islam will go from 1.6 billion people currently to 2.76, almost 3 billion people.
Holy crap!
By 2050, which means that their percentage of the global population will go from 23.2% up to 29.7%. They'll have almost 30%.
What's Christianity?
They will stay steady at 31.4% of.
So Islam's nipping at the heels.
Nipping at the heels.
Wow.
Now, I have always thought that
That's terrifying.
religiously unaffiliated folks have been shooting up.
Yeah.
And and so I expected our trajectory to look like the Islam trajectory. Well,
Right.
guess what? We don't have a lot of babies.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And while more and more people are falling away from religion, they're not doing it in those kinds of numbers.
Right.
So as a percentage of world population, the religiously unaffiliated will fall down.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah. From 16.4% of the world population, Pew projects down to 13.2%. So that's bad news, I think, on the world front. However, I feel like there is good news in this because that's the world. But the places where the population is changing the most are in these third world areas. And that's where the big changes are happening.
Okay.
But in the first world, in the developed nations, we're finished developing, right? We're developed at this point. We don't need to develop any further.
Right.
If we're going to call them developing nations, then we're done. We're developed.
Okay.
We're just developed.
Great. Okay, moving on.
In the United States of America, the trajectory continues. The unaffiliated are going to rock your socks.
Oh, how so? Do tell, Dan.
So projected cumulative change in the United States, I'll start with Christians. The projected cumulative change between 2010 and 2050 is that Christians will lose 66 million people.
What? So from what percentage to what percentage? Does it show that?
Where would I find that? Let me see.
Doesn't matter if you don't have it readily available.
I don't have it right here.
Huge loss.
A huge loss for Christianity.
Whoa.
Of that, the unaffiliated will be gaining 61 million. Almost the whole thing. Basically, that's they lose, and almost all of them we gain. Now that doesn't mean that they're all going to be atheists or even agnostic, but the religiously unaffiliated are going to be huge. That takes we religiously unaffiliated to from 16.4% approximately in 2010 to over 25%.
Shut the fuck up. 25%? Oh, the nuns.
The nuns.
These are the nuns.
These are the people who do not profess a religious affiliation. Now, atheists of those will still be a smaller percentage, but still, that's pretty big. That's a big difference. And Christians are going from almost 80% down to about 66%. So,
wow.
And their loss is literally almost entirely our gain. It's not like they're switching. They're not switching.
Well,
they're not like
is so distasteful as a religion that when you leave, you pretty much just go cold turkey on the whole religion thing. And that's what it was for Mormonism.
Mormonism is
For
definitely
me,
that way.
like I was just like, well, no. It left such a bad taste in my mouth. I wanted nothing to do with
I think
any religion.
Mormonism's intense in that way. Mormonism's nice because like you feel like you've done religion. You feel like you've got a handle on it.
Yeah.
You've done 3 hours of a week of church. You've done,
You've done more religion in your life than you need to.
than you ever. Oh my God.
2 years on a mission?
Right. Exactly.
More religion than I ever needed.
Yeah.
And it took 10 years to decompress off that shit. But anyway. So a couple questions.
Yeah.
Does it break it down sort of any state by state sense or region sense? Like, are we seeing a less Christianity in the South, or does the South stay strong and we're just losing Christianity elsewhere?
It doesn't break it down like that.
Okay.
But I'm figuring that, if the Christians are losing
many people,
60 million
what's
of their
the
followers.
projected population of the country by that point? Do we know that? Is it like 400 million at that point? 500 million?
I don't know.
How
large
large
has
has
that?
the U.S. gotten by 2050?
It's a very big report, so I've been highlighting things that I thought were of interest. So I don't know that I have that readily available.
Okay. Well, your transition to this though, Dan, was about that this is related to the Islam. And clearly, like, there's something here, but like
the thing that I wanted
just told two horrifying stories about Islam.
Right. The thing that scares me about these figures is that I think this means that Africa, that Southeast Asia, that these areas are going to be wrapped up in war, because that's what's happening. I mean, the rise of Christianity and Islam in these areas is leading to this violence.
Yeah.
And I don't see that slowing remotely anytime
we gotta
soon.
Get these people like some tech jobs or something, like
get some money infused.
Get some money over there.
It's so true, but isn't that true?
They need a strong middle and upper middle class to stabilize out these countries. They really do.
They need people with something to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they need.
Well, and they need people distracted.
By
cool shit,
right? If we could fix their economies,
yeah,
and bring them up, not to our level, just up.
No, we don't want them at our level.
It would be terrible.
I'm thinking Chile.
Do you know anything about the economy of Chile?
I do know. Santiago is a lovely city.
Okay.
There's wealth, there's prosperity.
Okay.
But it's not it's not New York City.
No, come on.
But
that's our campaign. Get Africa to Chile. Mm-hmm. That's our new campaign.
Okay.
It's how we're going to solve the world's warring problems. Is by getting them to Chile levels of prosperity.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do. Just up to Chile.
Yeah.
We're not talking France,
Sweden.
We're not talking
Canada,
Germany.
No.
Chile.
We
can do it.
Yeah.
If we all band together.
And it's fun to say.
Yeah.
Chile.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we've got it. We nailed it. We've solved world violence on this show. I'm going to give you a couple more quick facts from this Pew thing.
I love these kind of things.
Yeah. Countries. This one's a fun one.
Okay.
Countries that will no longer have a Christian majority in 2050.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay.
Australia.
Oh, good for you.
From 67.3% down to 47%.
Well done, Australia.
United Kingdom. From 64.3 down to 45.4.
Wow.
Benin. From 53 down to 48. Go Benin. We all know so much about Benin, so that's great. France.
Okay.
Loses. They're still at 63% in 2010.
Okay.
Down to 44.
Good for them.
Macedonia.
Oh, yeah.
From 59 down to 50. Oh, wait.
That doesn't sound like.
From 59.3% Christian. Oh, yeah. They will suddenly be overtaken by Muslims. So that's less of a good thing.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. Okay.
So yeah,
we're okay.
New Zealand, Bosnia, Netherlands.
How close will the U.S. be getting? Or how far away will we still be, I guess might be the better way of...
Well, like I said, Christians will still be 2/3.
2/3 is what you said.
Yeah, 66.4%.
Oh, God.
Still be Christian.
So by 2050, we'll be where UK is right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just about.
Okay.
A little bit. We'll still be more than where the UK is right now.
Okay.
According to this.
All right. But within a statistical margin of error.
Yep.
More or less. Yep. Okay. Interesting.
Just a fascinating little deal. I mean, and most of those countries that I listed, basically, they'll be losing their adherence to non-religion. Some of them will be losing them to Islam or whatever, but mostly it'll be just unaffiliated folks.
Unaffiliated on the rise is what we have.
Right.
I have no problem with that. It's just, and here's the thing. I have a hard time. I guess what I need to be saying is religious folks stop reproducing so much. Poor religious folk stop reproducing so much, because I really don't want us to be reproducing more. The planet can't support an arms race in babies.
Right.
You know.
No. And nor will that help anybody.
More atheists in the world would be a good thing. Not on a planet with the problems that we have, though.
Right. Yeah. Well, we need to get them the old-fashioned way. But instead of making them, we need to just convince them, or invite them, or something.
The old-fashioned way would be to just go kill them all.
Well, then that's a thing.
Just go declare war.
That's a thought.
You know, just
we'll have to overtake the majority in more countries.
I think reason and rationality is what should rule the day.
Sure. I think that's nice.
Anyway, I'm not done with Islam at the moment.
Okay, well, let's jump right back into it.
Keep going. I don't know how this happened. I would like to take us to Syria real quick.
Oh, yay!
We have more or less intentionally avoided the topic of ISIS on this show.
Yeah, we kind of have. You hear about it everywhere else. You don't need to hear about it from us, too.
We really don't have much to offer on the topic.
No.
No new insight. We don't have any insight on it, to be honest. But this is a story that I could not ignore.
Okay.
Apparently, Syria, we all know, is not in good shape right now.
What?
I know. There's a lot. Here's some interesting statistics. Syria, since the crisis with ISIS has begun, has plunged 80%. 80% of its population is now in poverty.
Wow.
Okay. And the life expectancy in the country has dropped 20 years.
Holy crap.
Okay. And so the U.S. has been sending aid.
Yeah.
As we do.
Yeah.
And in the form of food drops and what have you. Well, a bunch of chicken was part of this food drop.
Okay.
It came from, it was all stamped with made, well, I don't think it was stamped with made in the USA. You don't really, it probably said something like USAID or something on it.
Sure.
It was clear that it was from the United States. It said Coke Foods on it.
Coke is in C-O-K-E, like Coca-Cola?
No, it's in K-O-C-H. I don't think any affiliation with like the Koch brothers or anything like that. It's a chicken company in the South.
Okay.
Although they've become one of the largest food companies in the country, apparently.
Okay.
But anyway, they had a bunch of chicken to send over. I don't know who paid for it, but whatever. It winds up in Syria. And these ISIS motherfuckers just burned it all.
Oh.
Because it was from the United States. This was halal chicken. This was prepared to meet Muslim dietary standards for how this chicken was killed and prepared and stored and blah blah blah.
Because I was going to say, like, you know, if it wasn't halal, I would kind of get it more. But oh my god, if they're going out of their way to send halal chicken to these guys,
yeah, that's what we did.
Well, I mean, the other question is this a shock?
No, ISIS fucking sucks.
ISIS they're bad people, and Of course they're going to do bad things.
But you don't expect them to
burn the food.
Burn the food that potentially can ease a little bit of suffering.
Right.
It's halal.
But it's also ISIS. And
it's also American food.
And they like to cause suffering. Suffering is kind of their stock and trade.
If this doesn't reveal that, I make that more plain than just about anything.
Right.
I don't know what does.
Yeah.
These are fuckers.
Yeah. Wow. You heard it here first, folks. We have now officially declared ISIS bad. We're taking the controversial line and declaring that ISIS is not a good group of people.
Well, someone has to do it, Dan.
I know.
Someone has to.
We're going to get emails.
And if it's got to be me, then it's got to be me. If it's got to be on this show,
then damn it.
So be it.
We'll do it. Don't think we won't do it. We will do. Yeah.
It just makes me so fucking mad, though. Like, and that's part of, I guess, why I have to just, most of the time, I just have to fucking ignore everything that's coming out on ISIS because it's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's a vision of humanity that is so opposed to what I see, like people as being capable. Like this is the kind of stuff that like I can't even imagine that these are human beings that do this kind of shit. It's so outside of my experience. It's so outside of just what I think humanity is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just...
It's bad.
It's bad.
They're bad. It's bad and they're bad.
Yeah.
And they should feel bad.
Yeah. They should feel bad. But they don't.
They don't.
I guarantee you they don't. They feel all like...
Here's the question. When they were burning all that chicken... How did it smell? I imagine that smells really nice.
I bet at first it smelled okay.
Probably smelled really good at first.
And then it started to get really...
Once it starts charring and then it's just...
Yeah. That's not nice.
It creates a pleasing odor to the Lord. According to the Bible. When you burn...
But don't burn all of it. You're not supposed to burn all of it.
That's when you burn a live animal also. Or like burn a whole animal. You're not supposed to burn like... just the chicken's breasts or whatever. Just the, I don't know.
I thought that with sacrifices, half the time you end up eating.
You just end up eating it?
Part of the sacrifice,
you're
right? Like you kill it on the altar, and then like the priests and whatnot, and they eat the sacrifice?
I think there's different kinds of sacrifice. I think different eras and different areas of the world did it differently. I know I'd eat it, because the Lord ain't doing jack shit with it.
Yes. Yeah.
He's just letting it die, letting it just burn there. I'm like, Lord,
well, I really
here's your food.
I don't think that like it's like for you. Like if you take something and you sacrifice it, I don't think you get to eat it. That's the sacrifice part of it.
But it's mine.
You have to.
That was my goat.
It's the priest, the temple.
Well, why are they eating my goat?
That's their payment. They had a racket set up, Dan. They had a really good racket.
Why didn't I just pay them then? I liked that goat. Anyway, hey, I've got a little bit more lighthearted thing.
Good.
It's an Easter story.
Oh, Easter, about the murder of a Judean, right?
No. This is a resurrection story.
Oh. Okay, it's the other half of the story.
Sure. A man in Payson, Utah, a little town in Utah, here in Utah,
okay,
decided that he would help make it easier for some of the Paysonites to be resurrected. He was going to aid in their resurrection.
Okay.
Somehow he had decided that having heavy headstones over their graves was going to hinder them. They probably hit it, like bonked their heads on the way up or something. So he literally went through the Payson Cemetery and knocked over like 35 some odd headstones, including some that date back to like the early 1800s, and just some very nice some history was lost when.
Oh, what an idiot! When a sick man, what he stated outright? Was this his plan from the beginning, or is this his defense?
This was his plan from the beginning. They caught him doing something similar a few days earlier. He was removed from the cemetery a few days earlier for moving grave markers, and then he went back to, quote, finish the job, according to his wife.
Oh, my God.
Or, his family, somebody. I don't think he has a wife. And the truth of the matter is that he's a man, he's schizophrenic. And this is what happens when mental illness meets religion.
It's not a good combo.
And it meets and then you got all of the fun sort of mythology that goes with religion.
Yeah.
And then you blend that up in a brain that doesn't work quite right. And you got a guy just knocking over a bunch of headstones.
Oh,
which to me is kind of tragic because like cemeteries are some of my favorite places.
Yeah, they can be beautiful.
I love cemeteries.
Yeah. I thought, like, when you were starting this, I thought it was a guy with like a new invention.
Right. Oh, like that would be great.
So that, like, when the resurrected or like all of a sudden find themselves stuck in a underground,
right,
with no way to get to the top, they have a way to like notify the people on the surface,
or you bury them with a jackhammer that like can.
Yeah. Why do you assume that this resurrected person who's in a concrete vault is just going to be able to make their way out?
Hope.
I mean, how many miracles do you want in one day?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, won't that be shitty? So there's this Mormon idea of the millennium, where after Jesus comes, the people who are still on the earth have to stay here for 1,000 years and just work.
Yeah,
they just have to do temple work and all this shit. It sounds like the worst thing in the universe.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if one of their jobs was to like dig out the resurrected dead folks?
God, I never thought you'd get here.
Oh, I've been here for 22 years.
About time.
We get to you when we get to you. I mean, we got a lot of people to dig up. And sorry. Jeez. All right, off you go to heaven. Shoo.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
but nothing like that.
No,
just a crazy man knocking shit over.
Speaking of, I'm just going to tell a quick story. I went to a cemetery just the other day. Andrea and I went to the Salt Lake Cemetery, which is a lovely cemetery. I actually really like it, but there's a lot.
Prime property, too.
Yeah, beautiful. Right up there in the avenues. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous. There's a lot of Mormon celebrities buried in that cemetery. A lot of ex-presidents of the church, prophets, as they call them,
right?
Buried, scattered around. And there is like tourism of obnoxious Mormon people to the cemetery.
Right.
And Andrea, my wife, and I are just sort of, we just went for a walk in the cemetery, and there's this group, I don't know if it was like a family reunion. They're, the two 15-passenger vanfuls and then several SUVs full of people piled out to see Wilford Woodruff's headstone and to see blah, blah, blah's headstone and blah, blah, blah. And they're, of course, children screaming and running around, and parents are yelling, "Hey, go find that thing! Oh, there you go, over there!" And they're all like yelling and screaming and climbing on things.
Were there any like graveside like services happening?
No, very few people are buried there now. It's not full, but it's pretty full.
So you pretty much have to have like a spot open in your family plot.
Yeah,
to get buried there at this point.
It's not easy to get. I mean, there are still stuff there.
There were parts of that cemetery, though.
Right, but I mean, they were in one of the older parts and stuff.
Clearly, if they're looking for.
But here's the thing, I wanted so badly. Andrea wouldn't let me because it would have embarrassed her. But I was like this close to going up to them and saying, people come here to pay their respects to their dead loved ones. Would you please be more reverent and ask your family to be more reverent around here?
Oh, Dan.
I just get super serious with them.
You needed to.
And just ruin their fucking fun.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to ruin their fun.
A cemetery is not a place for fun.
No. It's not a place to scream and jump around.
It's a place to take a quiet walk.
Yeah.
They can be contemplative. And that's one of the nice things is, it's just... they're peaceful places.
Right.
Typically.
Right. So I would have been in the right, technically.
Yeah,
and
you should have.
And it would have made me Just so
And
delighted.
throwing the reverent word at them.
Right.
That's always a good word.
That's Mormon code word. I don't know if most of you non-Mormons wouldn't have picked up on it, but the word reverent is used a lot in Mormon culture to just say, like, this is
Shut the fuck up.
This is a time to be quiet.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to ruin their fun and make them be quiet the whole time.
And they were in from wherever.
Idaho,
California,
and Logan.
Oh, okay.
Northern Utah and Idaho. License plates.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. All right. Well, I have one last story.
Okay. Knock it out.
I'm sure everybody has heard about the Indiana pizzeria by this point. If you haven't, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Right.
These are the folks who decided.
You need to talk about the Indiana law
Indiana.
first.
So Indiana passed one of these religious protection, religious rights, religious freedom protection acts, I think is what they're called. RFRAs. So Religious Freedom Restoration Acts. That's what they passed.
Yeah. Very important
and
stuff.
it was a very, very broadly worded one where basically they made anything legal in their state.
As long as you believe it in your heart with religion attached to it.
So, and of course, people are doing this in order to protect the small businesses. These poor business owners who are being forced into serving gay couples at their weddings and whatnot, right? Photographers, bakers, etc.
Yeah.
The last business you would expect to enter into this whole discussion is a pizzeria, which claimed, by the way, that if gay people came into their pizzeria, they'd be fine. But if somebody asked them to cater their wedding with pizzas, because that's really common, they'd have to decline. Well, why they entered this discussion at all, I don't know.
I think a reporter just was going to local businesses asking.
Nonetheless, it's a small little town, Walkerton, Indiana. Like 2,300 people. Like, this is a small little place. Like, the reporter was smart to go to a place like this.
Right.
To find, the owners of a business who would say this. Well, anyway, this is the Memories Pizzeria in Walkerton.
Like the corners of my mind.
Yes. Well, their business is probably a memory at this point. They, after saying this, all hell broke loose. Apparently their Yelp page was attacked.
Oh, wow.
Just absolutely fucking attacked. I haven't checked out the Yelp page.
Oh, I'm going to check it out right now while you're talking.
Lots of angry people. I'm sure they're down to like a 1-star rating, 1.5-star rating. Except probably now what has happened is that the conservative supporters of such a thing are responding back.
Right.
And one of the ways that they've responded back is by setting up a GoFundMe, which, if you're not familiar, is a crowdfunding platform where you can say, anything. I
need help with my leukemia. And blah, blah, blah.
And it's a $100,000 bill. Can you help me? And people send in money. They
donate.
Just donate.
Whatever. Really quickly, what's the name of this the place of the town?
Walkerton, Indiana.
Okay,
and it's called Memories Pizza. I think.
Okay, go on.
Anyway, so at last count, how much did you hear, Dan, that the GoFundMe had gotten up to?
Oh, God, it was in the high tens of thousands.
Each time I have checked today, it's been $100,000 higher than the last time I checked.
What? Where are they at?
$748,000, $571. I totally fucked that up.
Oh my God!
Yeah, $750,000.
That's mind-boggling.
It was 5:40 when I checked when I first got here. Around a little after 10 a.m. It's now a little after 1 p.m. So in 3 hours, it's gone up $200,000. So this thing is catching on. The word is spreading. And the bigots, who also, by the way, when you look at this thing, nobody's putting their name on their donation. It's always just
not.
anonymous.
Of course.
$5, $10, $20, $5, $25, $50. And it is, and these, all the ones I just read off, 0 minutes ago, 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago.
Here's what I'm going to guess, because now I'm looking at their Yelp page. And the thing is that they're getting a lot of 1-star reviews,
by people who clearly have never eaten there.
Oh, of course not. Like
this is the problem.
One that's jumped out at me says, ate here once and my pepperoni pizza had at least 4 pubic hairs on it. Staff refused to give me a refund or make a new pizza. Also, there was dog shit all over the floor. I mean, obviously, they're just...
Don't act like you're actually writing a review.
Yeah.
Just say, I saw these people on the news. I fucking hate them and what they stand for.
Right. So there's another,
I hate what they stand for.
Here's a 1-star review that says, bigots, being homosexual isn't a choice, blah, 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 blah. So that's, so that at least they're just saying, well, I hate them because they said whatever they said. But there are some of these reviews. I'm going back before the thing. Well, now it's all you can't even get back that far.
Yeah, no, it's
so now literally all of their reviews are either 1-star or 5-star reviews. They have zero. They have nothing in the middle.
Of course not.
There's not a 4-star or 3.
Didn't even have a Yelp page going.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man. Anyway, the thing is that
since I have started speaking about this, they have received 3 $100 donations.
God damn it!
2 for 20, 1 for 25, 2 for 5.
God.
And they're now up to $749,000.
Right.
So they went up $1,000 since I started talking.
Yeah. So the thing is that I'm guessing they weren't doing that great as a pizza shop. They were okay.
They weren't making this money.
No.
Not in a little town of 2,300 people.
It would take them 20 years to make this much money.
Yeah, probably.
They don't need. They can be out of the pizza business forever now. Oh, congratulations, guys!
Yeah. These bigots just won the bigot lottery.
Yeah, yeah.
And our nation's bigots are coming out to the tune of, well, I mean, who knows what this will end up being? Do you think it'll? I mean, at this rate, it'll break $1 million today.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And these folks who are donating probably feel some sort of pride in making millionaires out of these folks.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in the wrong racket.
What can we be bigoted about, Dan, and make $1 million?
I feel like there's decent money to be made. I mean, some money to be made talking with you good people. You our listeners.
Yeah, we've received some excellent support.
Yeah, you guys are fantastic.
We're not retiring on it, Dan.
No. We are in the wrong racket. We have said this before. Like, you look at how easy it is to fleece the Christians. And you just know. I mean, fuck, man. Listen, if any of our listeners can do it, if you can trick people, trick Christians into giving you their money, just say one bigoted thing, see if you can get it to take off.
Yeah,
and then do a GoFundMe. Don't lie. I would say don't even lie.
You really feel bigoted about what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to. You can just say something that is you don't even have to declare it as your own personal belief system. You can just say a thing, say a philosophy. Just state a philosophy, not as your own philosophy,
right?
But make it seem like it is or whatever.
You're devious, Dan.
Thanks. I try. I really do. But all I'm saying is, get those Christians on board, because you will, and get them to think that they're contributing to taking
some. It helps if you paint yourself as a small town, all American sort of thing, too.
Right? And you have to play into the Christians are the victim narrative.
Oh yeah.
If you can capture that Christian victimization,
Jesus Christ. $751,610.
Yeah. All right. We don't. Yeah. Don't update me anymore, because I'll just get depressed. By the way, from what I can see on the Yelp review of Memories Pizza, before April 2nd of 2015, they had 2 Yelp reviews. Both were positive. One was a 5-star, one was a 4-star.
Oh, okay.
But after that, now they have literally just hundreds of them, and they are all either 1 or 5 stars. So they have an average now of 2.5 stars. Because
equal numbers are showing
because
up.
It's basically, well, no, I mean, it's mostly 1 stars, but however their algorithm does it, it's definitely, I mean, so you see a bunch of 1 stars, and then you see the Christians coming out to like battle the 1 stars with their 5-star. It's a battle. It's an epic. It's a biblical level battle that's happening on Yelp.
On Yelp, no less.
Yeah.
Huh.
Worst tasting pizza ever. Don't bother visiting. You've never been there. Shut up.
Don't lie, people.
This one is good. Wonderful if you like your intolerance with a side of pizza. Yeah.
Well, also, folks, right now they're not open.
Oh, yeah.
They're
That's
closed
right.
for business. At the moment.
It's become so
hiding.
contentious.
They said they were in hiding. They actually used the words "we're in hiding," and I think they followed up with saying, "We haven't left our house," which isn't really in hiding. You've just locked yourself in your house.
You're just
and
you've told us where you
are. Nobody wants to be like locked in their, having to lock themselves in their house. Nobody wants that.
You're
I'm not saying
hiding
that's a good thing.
The way my 4-year-old nephew hides.
In plain sight.
Yeah. You've
close your eyes.
You've got the blanket over your head, but your whole body's showing. That's not hiding.
All right.
Anyway, if you guys want to give us a Yelp review, please don't do that.
You can,
but do give us an iTunes review.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. It's been a while.
We haven't talked about that for forever, but yeah, we need to be reviewed.
A little boost. We need a boost on iTunes.
You're probably holding or sitting next to the device that can do it.
Actually, I've seen the numbers on this, Dan.
Yeah.
A lot of people listen to us on iTunes, or somehow through iTunes. That is true.
Yeah.
We're all over the place now. So whatever platform you listen to us on,
right? If you would
please review us.
If you would take just a second to give us that 5-star review,
yeah, it helps out so much.
It helps out a lot, and then you'll also be counteracting all those bigots who are giving us 1-star reviews.
Who are so aware of us.
Right.
Yeah,
we're totally on their radar.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can also write to us. We're the email address is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
We also take voicemails at 424-666-8442. We sometimes play them on the show.
Yeah, and then what we'd like also for you to do is to go to the Facebook page if you want to. Like us there, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yeah.
And if you haven't yet, you didn't see the series of cat photos that I posted this week.
You did?
You didn't see that either. Okay.
I don't know how I missed it. I'm always on there.
I don't really post. I go and comment, and I put a bunch of cat photos on someone's.
Oh, see, every now and then
I sneak in there.
Frank, like Brigadoon,
yeah.
appears.
I like and I leave little comments.
Yeah.
That's about where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm forcing myself to do that because I know that's important. I need to be there.
See?
I need to be there, Dan.
He knows.
I got a text from a friend who said that it was like the most important thing that we're doing or something like that. Is that Facebook page.
The Members Only Lounge? Mm-hmm. People are loving it.
They love it. Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
Okay. So what we're about to listen to is Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal has some stuff to say to us about stuff. He's going to probably run for president, don't you think?
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, here's future presidential candidate. We're guessing Bobby Jindal.
Now we have seen this full-out conflict. It's in Indiana. It's in Arkansas. But, Tony, we have seen now, you and I have both seen, we have seen these small business owners. We have seen these bakers, these florists, these photographers that simply don't want their government forcing them to participate in a religious ceremony, in a wedding ceremony that contradicts their religious beliefs. And as a result, they have to choose. Are they going to pay thousands of dollars in fines? Are they going to have to close their businesses? Are they going to contradict their religious beliefs? And unfortunately, the national media is not covering that aspect of this story. They're really not focusing on the real victims of discrimination in all this, which are these business owners, these individuals that simply don't want the government to force them to contradict their own religious beliefs.
Oh, the real victims.
We found them. Finally, we know who the real victims are.
Yeah, it's these people who made $750,000 as of last check-in.
Those poor people.
They're just the victims here. Well, but here's the deal, Dan. Like, how do these people get off painting the business owners as the victims? I mean, all you have to do is substitute in an example using African Americans.
That's what needs to be said. So we're calling on everyone out there. Anytime anyone says anything about bake a cake for gays, I don't want to do this for gays, just say, can you substitute black in for that?
Yeah.
And if you can't, and if you don't feel comfortable saying they should be able to not support a black wedding, they should be able to not support a black
refuse service to black people.
Right.
Period.
Right. If they can't say that comfortably, then they can't say the gay thing comfortably.
Right.
That is what we're talking about. We're not talking about asking them to bake a cake that they would never bake otherwise.
Right.
We're not.
And we're talking about African American listeners as a gay man. We're not trying to piggyback onto the African American struggle. I think it's just
it's a different struggle.
It's a different struggle. It's just a very succinct way.
But this is the analogy because these are fairly analogous situations.
I think
we're talking about a class of people.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about what you can and can't make at your bakery, or what kind of flowers you're allowed to sell and what kind of flowers you're not allowed to sell. But once you decide you're selling flowers, once you decide you're baking cakes, you cannot decide, I won't sell to X class of people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just not how our system works.
Right.
Nor should it be. And that's what they're learning now all over the country when they make these laws, and then everybody freaks the fuck out.
Right.
So there's that. Good. Yeah. We were contacted, Frank, by a number of folks over the last week.
We were, yeah.
So I figure we can address that now. We got some emails. We heard from one Peg, who wrote into us to say, now you recall, Frank, that last week you talked about a group, a Catholic school
in York, Pennsylvania.
That wanted to approve all the dresses for prom beforehand. Yeah. Anyway, and you and I didn't know anything about York, Pennsylvania, and we've
never heard of it.
Making some jokes or whatever. Well, Peg wanted to make sure that we knew. She said, "Gentlemen, I'll have you know that York, Pennsylvania was the capital of the United States from September 1777 until June 1778.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah. She says York is in south central Pennsylvania. Okay, you were being a smartass. Gotcha. York is in south central Pennsylvania, directly north of Baltimore, and about 15 miles above the Mason-Dixon line. It is about 100 miles due west of Philadelphia. How do I know this? I'm originally from southern York County, and 50-plus years ago, I got a third prize in a DAR contest where the topic was life in York when it was the capital.
Oh. Well, all right.
I have no idea what a DAR contest is.
Daughter of the American Revolution.
Oh, that contest. Yeah. Sure. The DARs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta love them.
Yeah.
So thanks for setting us straight on York. She says there are some Amish in York County, but mostly in the eastern portion of the county, and not as many in Lancaster County.
Right. They're famous.
Not as many as in Lancaster County.
Yeah. Right. All right.
Anyway,
cool.
Thanks for that. Andrea wrote in, or Andrea, or whatever. Siri, I can tell you, will pronounce it Andrea, because every time I ask Siri to call Andrea for me, my wife Andrea...
Have you corrected her pronunciation?
I have now.
Oh, cool.
So now I've also turned him into a he.
The he is better.
I think so.
The he is it's a better voice.
Right.
and not so annoying.
You and I have
somehow.
transgender Siri.
Yeah. I went with I wanted to see what the guy sounded like.
And he's better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he now says Andrea versus Andrea.
Okay.
Anyway, this Andrea/Andrea/whatever says, well, I'm late to the game. I just found you guys about 3 days ago, and I've been hopping my way through your previous podcasts.
Oh, wow.
I came across the one where you discussed homeschool, and then the letter from the atheist homeschooler, and she says secular homeschoolers are a thing. There's an actual group for them now. And she gave the email address, which is National Alliance of Secular Homeschoolers.wordpress.com. So super easy to remember. Really good URL, guys. She says, I'm sure you have probably already been contacted about it or have heard about it. But like I said, I'm new and I haven't made it through all your podcasts yet. So sorry. But in case you haven't heard, it's totally a thing. Homeschool is no longer just for the religious nut jobs. I'm currently homeschooling my young children, 6 and 4, and we are secular homeschoolers. Our main reason is because our school system is lacking, and I want my children to develop a love for learning and have more of an active role in their learning. Anyway, I just wanted to share that and say thanks for the podcast.
Well, that's admirable.
Yes, boy, you're a woman willing to do more than I am.
It depends on how lacking the schools were.
They have to be pretty shitty for me to...
I mean, totally possible.
Totally possible, yeah.
Totally possible that she lives in a really crappy school district.
Right. She says she lives in West Virginia, so maybe that says something.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? That's...
It is interesting. I guess, the motivations that I've always heard for homeschooling have always been these paranoid religious reasons.
Yeah.
I guess there are legitimate reasons. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hadn't thought it through.
I guess so. I mean, I still have concerns.
Well, the public schools are and schools in general are about socialization.
There's that
largely.
That's a huge thing, so that's a concern.
Well, maybe not about. It's not that they're about that, but that's one major aspect,
right,
of your experience at school.
But then again, I do think
there's so many miserable experiences that kids have at school.
Yeah,
I think of my middle school experience. Horrible.
Yeah,
absolutely horrible.
Almost everybody's middle school experience is horrible.
Yeah, but.
Mine was awful too, and I had a terrible childhood. I do think that there's something about learning autonomy from your parents and all that stuff that might be good in school, but I don't know. I haven't seen numbers on it. It's not like I've done any research about
exactly.
it. So I don't know, and I do know that I think that our all of our public school system in the U.S. is pretty fucked up. Like I have so many objections to how schooling is done in the U.S. So I mean. It would solve a lot of problems if you're a smart homeschooler. Now, I also know plenty of really dumb parents who homeschool their children. And that's not good. Andrea, I assume you're smart, but my God, there are some stupid people who think that they can educate their kids. So there is that.
Yeah.
We had a voicemail, didn't we?
We did have a voicemail, and I'm going to play it right now.
Hi, my name is David, and I'm actually a gay dude from Indiana that is married to a Mormon, but that's not necessarily what I'm calling to talk about. Obviously, the Indiana thing is big in the news. I want to provide a perspective on why somebody might want to support it, even if you're homosexual. The primary reason I support it is because I believe that legislating people into silence closes down a very important conversation. We've seen this conversation happen in Oregon with the cake bakery that banned or refused business to the lesbian couple. They closed down before any legal action was taken because of threats and boycotts alone. The legal action was not the thing that actually closed their business down. Additionally, Nate Phelps, the son of Mr. Phelps, the guy that runs the Westboro Baptist Church, is now speaking out against his father's actions because he observed the public backlash. And the bottom line is I support free speech in terms of spoken words or actions universally because I want ignorant people to say ignorant things as loud as possible so that the public can converse with them and correct their false opinions. When we legislate people into silence, they'll go back home to their kids, to their family, and they'll complain about being forced to provide services to people that they have fundamental disagreements with. Whereas if they are allowed to do these actions, the public backlash alone will not only provide their families with a perspective of what those ideas can mean in terms of public opinion, but it also has the possibility to change their minds. So again, universally, I support free speech, and I do actually support the Indiana law despite being homosexual. I understand if you have any disagreements with this, but just want to provide that perspective. Thanks for your time.
An interesting perspective.
Yeah, I'm really.
I don't necessarily
glad that we got that call. Actually,
I guess
David.
I agree a lot, or I agree with a lot of what David had to say, including the fact that I think that we should be encouraging people to feel free to say their opinion, honestly and openly, and then as a society, we should decide which opinions are of value and which we shun as a society. For instance, if you have an opinion, if you have a bigoted opinion, we as a society will need to loudly and succinctly shut you down.
Right.
But that needs to be part of a conversation.
Yeah. Well, and are we good at having those kind of conversations? Because all I'm seeing, especially with this pizzeria example, is we have the shouting down from the supporters of gay rights, and we have the financial support and the paying, the financing of the pizzeria owner's position through GoFundMe.
And neither of those is having the conversation very well.
We're not having a conversation about it.
Right. So I think the pizzeria thing is where it does fall apart, where that's not the conversation happening. That's two sides yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And one pizzeria owner getting rich.
Yeah.
So
undeservedly so.
Right. So I don't, here's the other thing, where I have to part ways with David on this. I don't think these laws are about free speech. These laws are not about legislating silence in any way. To me, these laws are just, these laws, when they try to pass a law like these religious freedom act
well, he supports the Freedom Act.
I know. And what I'm saying is that these laws are not about people being able to say what they want to say and being able to be open about their opinions.
Right.
These laws are about protecting bigotry.
Right.
And there's a big difference between fostering that conversation and allowing and protecting bigotry.
Right.
So I guess I can't really go down that road with you all the way, but I do agree with a lot of the sentiments that he said.
Yeah. In a perfect world where we could have, where we could reliably have good discourse nationally about these important issues that keep coming up in our society.
Right.
If we were all adults and could all and knew how to talk to each other and knew how to listen, that's key here, then that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I would love it. And what a completely different country we would live in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's two sides to this question, right? There's the first side, which is what do we do? How do we, as a society, respond when we see something that is truly bigoted, that is societally unacceptable?
Right.
And I think that can be a pretty quick and decisive response.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to just an individual, I think it's super important to be able to listen, to be able to hear their point of view. Because, first of all, no one changes their mind when they're like going to argue with you.
Right.
When they're girding up their loins to take you down. That's not when they change when they change their mind. And they're not going to hear your point of view if you're refusing to hear theirs. Right. But if you're genuinely interested in where they're coming from, and you you basically go to the Aristotelian thing, you go to the Peter Boghossian thing, you ask them questions as a person who just wants to get to the heart of where they're coming from, they're more likely to examine their own opinions. So I think there's there's two different. There's a whole lot. This is a very complicated thing that we're dealing with here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that there's any one way to handle it.
No, there's not.
Anyway, thanks for calling in, David. So we have some donors that I wanted to list. On the PayPal side of things, we have Jennifer, who is now a monthly subscriber. So thank you, Jennifer. We also had a one-time donation from Elsie. So thank you very much. And how are things looking on the Joyride side?
I'm sick.
Oh.
I totally failed to look it up. And,
yeah.
And it takes a minute to look through it, so it's not even something I can just look at the page and see who's new. So my apologies. We will thank all the Joyride donors from this week and our current week on the next show. So my apologies about that. But however, we're doing great on Joyride.
We are doing great.
An anonymous thank you to everybody who's come out to help us.
It's currently anonymous, but future.
But in the future, there will be names attached to those.
Also, we owe another apology, which is to our Joyride listeners, our Joyride donors of a certain amount.
Yes.
They are promised a monthly hangout with us,
or a Google Hangout,
hangout with us, and we didn't get it done for March.
March got away from us, and then
there's sickness, there's things. So we deeply apologize that we'll be doing two
in the month of April. To make it up to you guys. So if you guys still want in on that, we'll honor it. If you come in now and donate at that level, you can join in on the first one in April and then get a second one in April too.
There's a bonus for you. So go to thankgodimatheist.com, and then on that page, on the right side of the page, there is the Joyride button. There's a big banner sort of on the right side of the page.
Click on that.
You just click on that, and you can go and you'll be able to be part of this. It's we're getting there. We're to the point where we actually have started buying our new equipment, which is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal because we hit that level. Soon we'll be hitting we'll be hitting our next. Hopefully, our next level will be hitting soon, and that way we can. That's where we start to really things start to really take off for us. So we're really hoping to get there. We're at $428 per month right now. We need to get up to the $700 level to get to our next.
But we're halfway there.
Halfway there. So we really appreciate all of your help with that. But if any of you haven't donated yet and you find that it is within your means to do so, we would really, really appreciate the help.
Yeah.
It's
wonderful. Yeah.
There you go. We're going to let Frank off the hook now because
just dying over here, guys.
He's dying. So thank you all for listening so much. We really appreciate everything you do. Again, our email address, Thank God I'm Atheist. It's podcast at
there you go.
ThankGodI'mAtheist.com.
And our phone number, if you'd like to leave us a voicemail, is 424-666-8442.
Facebook.com/TGIAtheist, or search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Wow.
I'm struggling. We're both struggling, apparently. And please do. It's a great place. And
of course, thank you to Mackenzie for all of your help on Facebook. It really is amazing.
It's amazing. And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, which is fine music indeed.
Absolutely. And thank you, dear listener, for listening yet again.
And for giving Frank a break.
Yeah. Jesus, guys. I hope none of you are feeling like I'm feeling right now.
And so do I. I also hope that you're not feeling like Frank's feeling. So, yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.